You may not have realized that when you landed at Schiphol Airport, you landed on a pumped dry lake 5 meters below sea level. The place where you waited to claim your baggage is the same place where ships used to wreck in storms just 2 centuries ago. And this country has a unique relationship with water, and you will probably experience it firsthand during the coming days. But before we all dive into the event of the week, let me take a moment to tell you why I believe it's so important that you are here, and why the Amsterdam International Water Week is so important to me. And the best way of showing this to you is by looking at the news. Because every day, our newspapers, news websites, and news programs are flooded with stories about water crisis. Take the story about Olga, for example, a lady from the town of Prijidor in Bosnia. It's a country with rivers flowing through every major city. Olga told a journalist that she is more afraid every year because the flooding from the nearby river grows more intense every year. She's really afraid. She said, "We are all afraid. We can't sleep," bursting into tears. Just one story. Or take the Philippines, where just 2 weeks ago, Typhoon Lando caused enormous damage and severe floodings. "It's the worst flood I've seen in my entire life. I've never seen anything like this," said a farmer named Reynaldo Ramos, who lives close to the capital of Manila, a city of 2.5 million people. Another story. Take Richard Harvel, a 67-year-old man who was washed away after a thunderstorm in October while he was camping in California. And the sad news is that as of today, he has not been found. And suffering the driest years in its history, California hopes and prays for a wet winter. But the tragic fate of Richard Harvel shows that both drought and rain poses enormous risks. And these are all examples of what happens in the world on a daily basis. Storms, rains, floods, but we also see a lack of rain and a lack of clean drinking water. And this combination of challenges is difficult and grows more complicated every year, because more and more people in today's world move to cities for opportunities and a better way of life. But it is in our cities where water-related risks are most pressing. Our biggest cities are the ones in vulnerable areas lying in low river deltas. Cities just like Amsterdam. For the Netherlands, these issues are real. They have been part of our lives for hundreds of years. And maybe we found an approach to deal with them, but we want to share with others. We also need to constantly refine and renew our own approach, and that is why we need the expertise of other countries as well. Because what happens in the Netherlands happens worldwide. And the human search for dignity, security, and prosperity leads to new insecurities. And it is therefore no surprise that this year the World Economic Forum sounded the alarm bell. Water crisis, they said, are the #1 global risk in the foreseeable future. Water runs through everything. It touches infrastructure, touches the quality of life in world cities. It touches geopolitics and local governments. It touches climate change and food and energy supply for all. And at its most basic, water is about survival. So the stakes are high as they can be. And when I think about this, I often remember a quote by Robert F. Kennedy. He once spoke to students in South Africa about the need to create a better world, to take on the big problems of that time. And Kennedy said to them, "Like it or not, we live in times of danger and uncertainty." It was, after all, in the time of the Cold War. And although the problems of the 1960s are different from today, we still live in times of danger and uncertainty. Water, I believe, runs through all our global uncertainties, from Bosnia to the Philippines, from California to the Netherlands. So what does this mean? To me, it means that the news stories I started with are not just about 3 ordinary people. They are, in fact, about you and me, about all of us in this room today. because we are all working on water-related issues every day, striving to help those in need. And we see how floods and drought and water quality and sanitation are interrelated. We know the risks, we share the urgency, and we understand that there are many uncertainties. And luckily for us, Robert Kennedy didn't end his speech with a sober conclusion. He added a plea to keep working towards a better and safer and more beautiful world. And he did so by using a water metaphor. And let me quote again. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or does something to improve the fate of others, he sets off a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls. End of quote. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can help build that current. A current that is built when you share ideas and approaches and begin new cooperation. It is built when that leads to applicable technology and solutions. It is built when you use events like the one that brings us together here today to raise local and global water awareness. Together we can build the world of water safety, water security, and water resilience. And as you know, the United Nations recently embraced 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and among them is a goal dedicated to water management and sanitation, and one dedicated towards safe and resilient cities and communities. But now that we share these goals, it's time we get to work to achieve them together. So, I challenge you all today to help us reach them and to create tiny ripples of hope, ripples that one day, with all of us working together, become currents of change. And this International Water Week is your opportunity to make a difference, to expand your network, your knowledge, and your impact. And we've seen some of the ripples already. For example, yesterday's bike ride through Amsterdam, showing the urgency of urban resilience, or in the search for practical innovations to reduce water use and ensure the supply of quality food. And some of these innovations will be presented here tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, every idea you share this week, every new approach to increase water resilience, every new technology that helps save water or improve hygiene or sanitation, they are all ripples of hope, not just for the people who end up in news stories, but also for those who don't, ordinary people from Mozambique, from Bangladesh, from the Netherlands, and for every large country or small community that needs to deal with the uncertainties of today and tomorrow. And when your plane takes off again from Schiphol Airport, 5 meters below sea level, you will see a small river delta below you. And when you see our country from above, I will hope you will think back to the ways you used this International Water Week and the Aquatech exhibition to build a safer, more prosperous and more beautiful world, one ripple, one current at a time. I wish you a very successful Water Week, and thank you very much.